The education system has started to fail us. And this is something that's talked about all the time. So this probably isn't anything new to you. That's even if you want to click on the video, right? But online safety has been the big thing recently, not just in schools. What I'm linking today is how schools and modern government is making online kids' safety worse by what they are doing. This video is simply to show what is truly happening with the things that they say that is supposed to be helping us. In mostly logos, logic, and I guess you'll have to take my credibility. And I guess this is also very opinion based. Let's start off with what my personal school, so this gives me true ethos, my true credibility on this. This is about the only credibility I have at the time of recording at least this part. In my school, we have Chromebooks. And yes, some schools might have worse, some schools might have better. But no matter what, they all have a lot of the same stuff. They have attempted online safety software. And I remember a time when online safety software wasn't very much used. Like there was like some classroom thing where they could look at your screen, but they had to physically be looking at it, and there was no way to really stop you from doing stuff. This was like 5th, 6th grade for me. And I had iPads back then. This kind of stuff wasn't super bad yet. You know, they had the ability to look at what you were doing. If you were truly being off task, they could help you to get on task, whether you wanted to or not, right? And I don't think that that was too far. I think teachers being able to know what kids are doing on technology, teachers, I want to make sure I said teachers, but teachers being able to know what kids in school are doing on technology probably is fairly important to knowing whether a kid is actually attempting to learn. Now, I can go on about whether the kid actually learns either way, and I'm probably going to do that in a different video, considering I am learning about how to learn to learn. But the true takeaway from it is that that wasn't too invasive. That wasn't bad. It was a teacher physically having to look at your screen through their screen. Well, yes, it was annoying. They were technically really in the right, trying to make sure you're actually doing something other than watching YouTube videos or other such. The problem I have, right, and I do have a problem with it now. I'm not saying it's all sunshine and rainbows. It never was all sunshine and rainbows. But now it's the storm is settling in. The darkness is settling in, really. What we are seeing is full control over the ability of what students can do, what they can see, what they get punished for. And I've talked about punishments and other such in other videos before this. How does this relate to the government, though? Just before we get into very specifics. Well, the government has been doing, across the world, like governments, not even the government, US has been very bad, but also it's the US, right? But even places like Australia, Great Britain, those places are also doing very online kids safety stuff. And I want to talk about the very few just like benefits just in the beginning, just so I'm not seeming like I'm a horrible person just complaining. Benefits. I can go on to places like let's say War Thunder, like the background, but well, not actually War Thunder the background, but like hypothetically speaking, if War Thunder was affected, I wouldn't be able to see the chat and I wouldn't be able to see the atrocities people say without verifying. And as long as I can do it without verifying, I can not have to deal with that. In fact, I'm probably going to do a video on Roblox soon because I have very little to say about Roblox, and it's very bad but also very good at the same time. And that would be also a great place. Like kids not I am not able to see text chat because I haven't verified my age. And I think that's way better because seeing it playing Roblox on other accounts way back in the day when before Roblox became really bad, I text boxes and other stuff from other people talking has always been really annoying. And games like that, having that age verification can just disable that, and it helps. It just keeps you a little bit more sane, not having to read or have to constantly close it. Other than that, um, I don't see much upside. I mean, you can't get you can't get like bad links. You can't click on those. You can't see bad texts. And all that does is just make it less annoying, which is nice, but that you should just be able to have it not be like that in the first place. So here's the rest of the downsides. Well, downside, you can't see what people are saying. You can't get on links. Oh, it's a double-edged sword. Okay, another thing. Now you can't play with friends as easy. Now you have to do extra work just to do a simple task, just to play video games, something that truthfully shouldn't be a matter of focus for a government because video games are leisure time, not work time. Granted, I technically use all my gaming time as work time, but that's my choice. It's my choice to have a YouTube channel. It shouldn't be like that for everyone, to be work, to just play video games. If you don't want to do that stuff, then you shouldn't have to do it. Going back to laws that have been passed, because I went on a little bit of a tangent there. Currently, places like New York are forcing the like things like Steam. Like Steam itself is being forced by the New York government, or they're attempting to force Steam to have to give away locations of all of their Steam users and other information at all times. New York City, or not city, the state, sorry. If Steam gave access, Valve, right? If they got access, they could see the locations of people all the way across the globe because they want to protect kids and stop people from using VPNs and such. They are getting access to everyone. That kind of stuff allows overlapping. Like, let's say that now California does the same thing. Now they have overlapping stuff and they can use it as evidence to track all the people. And if one state gets it, other states will get it. If one country adopts the whole thing, other countries are going to adopt the whole thing. That's how it works. So what we're truly seeing is spying without spying. In fact, I'd suggest learning about how to safely get rid of all of your private policy stuff, like trying to be able to not accept as much of it as possible. But how does this link to school? Because I've talked a lot about government, I've talked a lot about games and other such. How does this relate to school? Because that is one of the main parts of this. Well, when you see school, you see a lot of the same thing, except it's implemented already and there's nothing you can do about it. When you see the school system and how they treat all of this spying, it doesn't seem like it's all that bad. Why does it seem this way? Well, let's take my Chromebook. I have it in my hands right now. I'm keeping it for summer school, right? Well, immediately logging in, you're not allowed to go on to you're not allowed to sign in, and if you want to do like stuff like DRC Insight testing and stuff, you have to do it before you can even sign in. That already limits kids a lot on things they can do. Well, yes, it's probably smart school-wise. It's not very smart in the normal sense because now kids are realizing that they're not trusted to be on their Chromebook normally, to have apps normally. Now, here's the other thing. I could get someone in trouble without having their Chromebook signed in. I could get someone expelled potentially because without even having them be signed in on their Chromebook. All I have to do is have 30 seconds to myself with their Chromebook, and they're not there. And all I have to do is start typing cuss words into their password thing, and they could get in severe trouble if not having their Chromebook taken away. How does that work? Well, they have something called Gaggle. Gaggle tracks every single keystroke you make. If I spell the F word and then I do you, like Y-O-U, I could get in significant trouble for that. If I put that into like my browser and I don't actually click enter, they can still see that I typed it. And it'll get sent to a system and it'll report me, which will lead to disciplinary action. So if I did that in someone's password account, I could get someone's entire life ruined by doing that. If I so much as disliked them slightly, I could ruin their entire school year. That's an unexpected side effect, isn't it? I could, if I managed to be on their account while it's signed in, I could go to Gmail and start typing the F word a bunch of times to a bunch of kids. Now you have hate crime, and now you've got like artificial proof. Now you're stuck, and you could have probably done that either way, but you don't need to either way because you can just go into their browser and start doing stuff. That and just typing normally, it knows when you're typing to people. It knows when you're typing in your browser. It knows a lot. I personally haven't gotten in trouble yet. That. But also I've been very smart with how I type. And it is pretty good at also understanding when you're talking about something else, but also hypothetically speaking, you can get in severe trouble for doing a history project talking about Hitler. You can get in trouble on an English topic talking about a story using cuss words. This is the kind of stuff that has backfired. Now, that's just backfiring stuff. Why is this against safety of the children? This is against safety of the children because it completely disables them from being able to use a device. They're being inclined not to use what they're being told to use. And then now that they were using it, we're finding ways. Now they're actually probably going to limit our screen time on our Chromebooks, which means we can do less work online, which means I can't stay on there and be on Gmail talking to my girlfriend. I can't be, I know that sounds really bad, but like, it's the only way we can talk reasonably. And it's smart. It's what kids do. This kind of stuff is being punished. Being able to have connections, being able to do stuff normally, that kind of stuff is being punished. They want strict obedience. And I've talked about this before in other videos about how I went to one of our mini assemblies, right? And the entire thing, several times, was the one thing said, just do what you're told, in pretty much the same tone of voice and speed. This kind of stuff is being reflected onto our digital rights as a student. Now that's just watching your keystrokes, right? Everything you type. It just limits kids to being able to only type things that are whatever the school wants you to type. That's not necessarily all that bad, but then you think about stuff like GoGuardian, which is a much more severe version of the classroom thing that I was talking about before. Not only can teachers like see what you're doing, they can specifically block websites. They can have access to only certain amounts. They can limit how many tabs you have. They can straight up just report you instantly. Also, a little side note, as editor, they can pretty much do the same thing with your bathroom breaks. The students are being watched 24/7 in what they type and what they're actually able to do and see. They're limited to certain things. Like kids have had so much trouble trying to be able to do stuff. And then there's what we have in our school, iBoss. It's literally just a typical website blogger. right? If it thinks it's a game or something like that, or if there's nudity or something, it'll get rid of that. Or it'll say, when you try to go onto it, it'll say that you can't, and it'll give like a description of why and blah, 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 blah. Now, is there plenty of ways around this? Yeah, just find more websites. So they have to continuously do more when more websites can just keep being produced. Like, while I don't play like all the stupid games that amount to absolutely nothing, I play actual games like Catan. If you don't know what Catan is, it's literally just a bunch of hexagons that have different resources, and you build your empire and get the most points against other players, right? Most points wins. Being able to play Catan online is really fun. And in fact, I did that the last couple days of school. These last couple days of school, yeah, it was a lot of me playing that Catan-like game, but I had to go through a bunch of websites to find one. And I'm gonna probably do a video on Catan. But anyways, just enough about that. Like, kids have to do so much to play games and do other stuff, which is valid. It's valid to not want people to, or kids to be on these games and wasting their time. But when the few kids that are actually using it for something good, like my friend uses Minesweeper. Minesweeper is an amazingly like hard game in its strategy, and it uses your brain and uses a high amount of cognitive load. So does Catan. Those kind of kids are being punished for trying to use games that are actually good when they have nothing to do. And it's typically the kids that are using the good games when they don't have anything to do. Right. And a lot of like stuff like YouTube videos, those are blocked. So even if you can manage to be on YouTube at a good time in a good class, most of it's blocked, and then anything that should be blocked isn't blocked, because that works, right? That makes sense. So we have total dominance that is really being tried for, and in some areas it's working, in some areas it's just broken. Us as students are being watched all the time without the ability of us in the play. Us as students are completely useless. And it sucks because the only time this world is going to change is when all the old people die. I'm sorry if you're like, if you're old and you watch this for some reason, like even 30s up. 30s up, chances are you're not going to be very useful anymore. Like you're only going to be good for as long as you can keep the system running. That is the truth. The younger generations, the moment we can get into political stuff legally and we actually start rolling, is when the world is going to go up. Right now, it is only going down. We don't need to be like the guy that used a Molotov cocktail on OpenAI's house, the CEO's house. We don't need terrorism, we just need time. And time is what we don't have. What I want to come from this, now that this is an extremely long video about one small thing, with many rants that are off topic, please do something to fight back. I'm not saying destroy buildings or arson. For as much as if I got the chance, I probably would. I'm not out for it. And I'm not saying you should do that either. But what I'm saying is that you need to do something. If you're an adult that's over 30, prove me wrong. Do something. Okay. Literally, I will give you my number, my Gmail, my Snapchat, whatever you want, if you can give me proof that you're doing something valuable for the world. Thank you for listening, guys. Please do something. Over and out.